shooting for Enduro 360.
And what bike you got with you?
Today we have the KTM 525 Enduro.
Yeah? And what's it going to do this weekend?
It's going to do a rally in Mexico.
It is. It's all set up with the rally gear. Yeah? You like KTMs?
I love KTMs.
You actually know what they are, don't you?
I do.
You do. That was one of the things you said was you love KTMs.
KTMs.
What else do you like?
BMW Enduro, the Harley V-Rod.
V-Rod, there you go.
And of course, not just motorcycle rally, but car rally also.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming out to shoot with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Enduro 360. I'm your host, Chili White. Today we're here to talk Baja Rally. That's right, this weekend we have the first ever all motorcycle event for Baja in a rally format. If you follow us much, you know this is my Baja trail bike. Man, what's going to be more fun than riding the 525? Performance-wise, haven't really done too much new to this bike since we built it last year. It's just racked up a lot of miles. It's had probably 4 full weeks of Baja time in the last year, almost year. So to get ready to go racing again, it was really time to give this thing a full once-over. So I've pretty much been over the bike head to tail. We got some pretty nice newer wheels I picked up this year. These were takeoffs off. I'm not sure what they are. In fact, they're probably mismatched, but they're good wheels. Put on new Dirt Tricks rotors, front and rear. You can see the coating's just starting to wear off of that because they've just been out on it once. Fresh brake pads all the way around. Bled the brakes. Suspension wise, haven't really changed much. This is the Racetech heavy spring I put on here last year. So far it turns out I actually really like that spring, so I've just been running that on there. By comparison, on my other bike I've got a WP PDS 7 spring, which really should be more or less in the same range as a progressive spring for the PDS shock as this is. But for some reason I just don't like it quite as well, so I'm really sticking with the Racetech. Got my Fastway pegs on there. These things, in fact, this particular set of pegs are, well, they've probably been on here almost 3 years. As you can see, they're holding up super well. They don't look real sharp on top, but I actually file those down just a little bit because I don't like them super sharp. So they're actually holding up great. Scavenged up a newer. As with many things on this bike, I put the best of the used parts that I have. There's not too much new on here, but lots of good used parts. This is the FMF full exhaust system with the power bomb that we put on last year, and it mounts a little bit different. You can see it sticks out the back a little bit farther and it has this kind of little odd bracket right here. As it turns out though, it actually performs really well, so pretty happy with that. Got the Safari tank. This is the 15-liter tank. Trail riding, this is good for pushing 150 miles. For the race, all they'll tell us is we need more than 80, so this will have plenty of range for us. And my Seat Concepts seat on there. Again, this seat is one I might not use for normal race conditions, at least on this bike, but in a rally format where we've got to be looking at all the road book stuff up there, actually doing a lot of sitting down at high speed, this is going to be a great seat. I didn't want to carry too much stuff on my back, even though I wanted to make sure and take a few spares with me, so I went ahead and mounted up the sick-ass tool bag on there. I think that'll just be the perfect choice, get all the weight off of me, but on a nice secure mounting platform here. Dual Sport stuff actually is holding up really good on this bike. If you remember, we put all this on. This is the sick-ass racing kit in 2010, and really the only thing is, you have any issues, I just can't keep the front turn signals on it. I break them all the time. The little rear flush mounts are great. They're super solid. Still putting out light even. And I love the brake light because it's so bright. Let's see if we can get around and see that just a little bit better. So the bike has really good light setup on it. We'll roll this inside and talk a little bit more about all of the gadgetry on top. But let's finish a quick walk around. Of course, I have my flex bars on there. You know, I've got to run the 12-degree bend a little bit more, particularly for trail riding. I've put on a set of Renthal. These are the Kevlar grips. I really think they're the most expensive grips you can buy, but they sure work well and they sure hold up well. And out front, so we're running Kenda tires in the front with mooses. I've got Parker on the front, In the rear there, I've got a Washougal, and honestly, that's just all I had. I would rather have a Parker for the rear too, but it'll be fine once it wears just a little bit. So that's good. I dug up this piece of bling. I had this up in the rafters. I'd forgotten about. This is a honest to goodness bona fide KTM Red Bull race fender. Look at that. Check out the little carbon fiber brace there. I think this was, I don't know, I bought it at a garage sale. I think it came off an actual Micah Lacey bike from the first time around, not the second time. Got our Squadron LED from Baja Designs mounted into the 2006 style headlight shell there. And that's about it. Let's go inside. I'll pull the headlight off so I can show you all of the mounting here and talk a little bit about going through that. So for all our navigation stuff, we went to Rally Management Services, and they hooked us up with basically the complete kit. It's a bolt-on. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to work with. Before I pull the headlight off so we can talk about it in detail, I want to show you one of the things I did was I actually cut the top of the headlight mask off to give myself plenty of room in here to make sure we didn't have wires rubbing or pushing against anything. And actually it came out real well. It's slightly crooked. I'm not quite sure why, because I know I measured that twice. My cut's nice and clean. It's just not exactly parallel with everything, but nobody's going to notice the difference. So from the cockpit here we go. That's the view. We can see the basic components. Of course, the primary component is the map, the road book holder. It has manual knobs on it, but then of course we have our thumb switch to advance it and roll it backwards. For our mileage, we've got the ICO VR Rally. It's mounted right up. Now I'm just running that off the watch. And then over here we've got the GPS. Of course, the GPS we need primarily for compass headings. So I've got my 62 mounted up there. Then for backup, I went ahead and put my Checkmate on there, my Enduro computer. So this is not plugged into anything right now, but if for any reason I have problem with the ICO Rally, I could just take the wires and plug them right into my Checkmate, and I'd have a good odometer. Over here on the right hand side, we've got the standard ICO style thumb switch, so we can advance and reset our mileage as necessary. And of course the thumb switch for the road book holder. I had to do a little bit of work to get that all mounted up. What you can see I've done is I've gone to the clevis for the clutch. I've put a spacer in there so I could mount the little bracket on here with a longer bolt, and I think that'll be pretty durable. I think that will hold up pretty well. Also, I've gone and stuffed in the Giant Loop zigzag bag right here in between the bars on the flex bars, so I can my plan is that I can reach in here and grab a little bite of something to eat, either a gel or a block while I'm riding. In the front here there's a fair bit of wiring, so you can see that we have these nice little brackets right here. Those actually what everything mounts to. Those go right to the bars. Again, I've got them on the mount on the flex bars. They went right on, no problem. So it's a pretty clean setup. I had to fabricate the mount for my GPS. So what I did was I just took the ram mount, took the ball section off, made this little aluminum L bracket that now basically just clamps it up against this bar that runs all the way across and holds everything in place. Drilled a hole, put a giant zip tie on there over to here, just as basically a secondary precaution. So it's fairly sturdy, but it will move also, so I think that should keep it from breaking, hopefully. Quite a mass of wires once you get it all together. I actually had this together and apart at least 3 different times before I came up with a setup that I've liked. Like, of course, we have to run the pickup for the odometer along the brake cable, so I've taken some of this wire sheathing, the spiral kind, and wrapped around there for extra protection against all the wires. A little bit here. We used no zip ties. Everything is electrical taped just to make sure we don't have any chafing anywhere. One place I've got a zip tie right here holding it all in place. I actually electrical taped around that. So I think that's going to be pretty secure, and hopefully that'll get us through the race without any problems. A lot of these parts, our pickup from the front wheel, the ICO, thumb switch. These are all really parts I use for enduro racing anyway, so I've got a lot of time on those, a lot of familiarity. So I think I'll be good. Here in the van I've got basically the spare bike, so if we need anything it'll come off this one. It's the 07 450XC. So I think we're pretty set. It seems kind of funny to go racing at, a pretty big race with a bike. Let's see, what is that? That's 7 model years old now. And while I put that motor in that chassis about a year ago, it probably had 100 hours, but it had a fresh top end. I've probably put another 100 on it since then. And as far as the rest of that chassis, I've replaced a lot of things and updated them, but man, that basic frame's got to have, I don't know, 25,000 miles on it. I've got a lot of good riding out of that bike. So as far as a bike to ride, to have fun on and feel like it'll perform well, I really think the 525 is going to be just about perfect. Obviously, Johnny Campbell, Quinn Cody, they're going to show up with really well-prepared 450 Hondas. But other than that, I think I've got a bike that will run with anybody down there. We've got some great suspension, beautiful motor. Don't have anything extra on the bike that doesn't need to be there. It's just as simple as possible. So we're going to hope for the best at the inaugural Baja Rally this weekend, and we head down tomorrow. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon here at Enduro 360.